Good morning. Now we discuss a topic from the new chapter, Raman spectroscopy. Overall, we discussed up to now microwave spectroscopy and infrared spectroscopy. Microwave spectroscopy is connected with the rotational motion of molecules, and infrared spectroscopy dealing the vibrations of molecules. And also in the vibrational case, we also consider some rotations also, because of if a molecule, if rotating as its bond is not rigid at all, there is a chance of vibration to occur. So in the infrared spectroscopy, we have discussed the combined rotation and vibration spectra of molecules. And here in the Raman spectroscopy, we will consider the rotations and vibrations of molecule. Okay, now we can go into the details. In this chapter, Raman spectroscopy, we have to discuss the Raman effect, this effect is due to the famous scientist C.V. Raman, and we have to discuss the elements of quantum theory of Raman effect and its application to molecules. We have to discuss the pure rotational Raman spectra, and we have to discuss the spectra of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Then rotational Raman spectra of symmetric top molecules, example of chloroform, and the vibrational Raman spectra of symmetric top molecules, also the example of chloroform. Now we're going to analyze Raman effect. What is Raman effect? We know that the photons can interact with molecules in different manners. the photon hit the molecule. So the energy of the photon may or may not change. According to the loss and gain energy, we can classify the process. So first is when the photon strike on a solid or a collection of molecules, then most of the photon are scattered elastically. In the course of mechanics, you have go through the scattering. In that, you must learn elastic scattering and inelastic scattering. In elastic scattering, there is no loss of energy. Okay. But in inelastic scattering, there is some change in energy. Okay. So here, when a photon strike a solid or collection of molecule, most of them are scattered elastically. This type of scattering is known as Rayleigh scattering. So if the scattering is elastic, there is no change in energy. So there is no change in the frequency of the photon. But in the same situation, some photons, maybe 0.1% or something, only a few of the photons are going in elastic scattering. Then there is some change in frequency of the incident photon. It may decrease or increase according to the loss of energy or the gain of energy. So the inelastically scattered photons have frequencies lower or higher than the incident frequency. This phenomena is predicted by Schmeckel in 1923 and it is observed by Sir C.V. Raman in 1928. This is referred to as Raman scattering. This effect is predicted by Schmeckel in 1923 and it is experimentally observed by Sir C.V. Raman in 1928. This is referred to as Raman scattering. And the line on the low and high frequency sides of the Rayleigh line are called Stokes and anti-Stokes line respectively. So the Stokes line has low frequency than the Rayleigh line, and the anti-Stokes line has high frequency, that of and these lines observed are mainly weak lines, and these weak lines of modified frequencies are generally referred as the Raman spectrum, and the frequency shift from the exciting line as Raman shift. It is observed that the Raman lines observed are weak lines when compared with the exciting line. And the Raman effect can be studied classically and quantum mechanically. First, we discuss the classical theory of Raman effect. When a molecule is placed in an electric field, the polarization of the medium take place. Have you know about electric polarization? In a molecule, there may be some positive center and negative center. If we consider carbon monoxide, so in this molecule, we know that oxygen has partial negative charge and carbon has partial positive charge. Okay. So there must be an effective negative center and positive center. If this effective positive center and negative center is, if it is not coinciding or it is displaced some distance, then it constitute a dipole. What is a dipole? Dipole means a positive and negative charge is displaced for a small distance. So and here it is say that when a molecule is placed in an electric field. Okay. In the case of homonuclear molecules, for example, H2O2, etc. The effective positive center and negative center must coincide. And if such molecules are placed in an electric field, by electric field, we give, it is similar to this one. If it is given an electric field, in some area there must be some positive charge, and in the negative portion there must be some negative charge. Then in the molecule, the positive charge attract towards the negative and the negative attract towards positive. Then there must be some polarization occur. And here, this polarization induced is proportional to the applied electric field. So we can say that the polarization P must be proportional to the applied electric field. We can remove the proportionality constant. Sorry, we can remove the proportionality by inserting some proportionality constant, or we write P is equal to alpha E, where alpha is the constant of proportionality, or that is the polarizability of the molecule. It is the polarizability of the molecule. Alpha is the polarizability of the molecule. And when a radiation of frequency nu0 is allowed to fall on the molecule, each molecule experiences a varying electric field. We know that we consider a photon, that means light, it is an electromagnetic wave. Then it is associated with electric field and magnetic field. So when a radiation of frequency nu0 is allowed to fall on molecule, each molecule experience an electric field, varying electric field. In electricity, we express the alternating electric field as E0 cos omega t, like this. So here we take nu0 is the frequency, omega is the angular frequency, and that two frequencies connected by omega is equal to 2 pi nu. So we write the electric field as E0 cos 2 pi nu0 into t, because we know that omega is equal to 2 pi nu. Okay. In the introductory chapter of spectroscopy, we have discussed that the molecules rotates and also vibrates. So due to these vibrations or rotations, it must also change the polarizability of the molecule. then the oscillating dipole will have superimposed upon it the vibrational or rotational oscillation. Let us consider the vibrational motion of the molecule, in which let Q be the normal coordinate associated with any particular mode of vibration having vibration frequency nu m of the molecule. We consider that the molecule vibrates with a vibrational frequency nu m. Then the normal coordinate corresponding to that must be written as in the similar way. Q must be equal to Q0 cos 2 pi nu m into T, where nu m is the vibration frequency of the molecule. And what will be Q0? Q0 is the equilibrium coordinate of the molecule. Due to the vibrations or rotations of the molecule, there may be some slight variations in the polarizability. So the polarizability of the molecule changes in very small. The change in polarizability may be very small. In such situations, we can expand such quantity in terms of Taylor series expansion. If a function f, it is defined at x is equal to x0, it is its equilibrium quantity, and there may be some changes in the x coordinate. It may be any delta x. In such cases, we will expand the function using Taylor series. If x0 is the equilibrium coordinate and h is the corresponding change corresponding to delta x. Okay, then we have studied in mathematics f of x0 plus h, or it is equal to f of x is equal to some f of x0 plus h into f dash of x0 plus etc. Okay, in the similar way, the polarizability can be expressed as Taylor series in the normal coordinate q as alpha is equal to alpha 0 plus dou alpha divided by dou q at 0 into q plus etc. When we substituting this quantity in the above equation of p is equal to alpha I, we substitute alpha is equal to this quantity and E is equal to E0 cos 2 pi nu 0 into t. So it is alpha 0 plus dou alpha by dou q 0. And we also substitute q is equal to q0 cos 2 pi nu m into t. Okay. And we find the product. Then the first term, alpha 0 E0 cos 2 pi nu 0 t. The second term, dou alpha by dou q at 0, q0 E0 cos 2 pi nu m into t into cos 2 pi nu 0 into t. Here there is a product of 2 cos. Then we can expand. It is using the trigonometric relation. We know that 2 cos A cos B can be expressed as cos A plus B plus cos A minus B. Using such a trigonometric relation, we write P is equal to, there is no change in the first equation. There is no change in the first term. Only change occur in the second one. To put a 2 here, we divide it by 2. So this quantity taken outside 1 by 2 dou alpha by dou q 0 q0 e0. And this 2 cos 2 pi nu m t cos 2 pi nu 0 t. Let us take 2 pi nu 0 t is equal to a and 2 pi nu m into t as b. Okay, then a plus b means 2 pi nu 0 plus nu m into t. A minus b nu 0 minus nu m. 2 pi into nu 0 minus nu m into t. Okay. So this is expanded term. Just checking the frequency components. Here a nu 0 and here the frequency component nu 0 plus nu m, and here a frequency component nu 0 minus nu m. This is what C.V. Raman observed in the spectrum. So the polarization contains 3 distinct frequency components. Nu 0, that is known as Rayleigh line. It is the elastic one. And nu 0 minus nu m, this is Stokes line. And nu 0 plus nu m, this is anti-Stokes line. Anti-Stokes line is higher frequency side and Stokes line in the low frequency side. So classically, we have explained the Raman spectra clearly, but the intensity of the observed lines is not correctly explained by classical theory. And it also be noted that, look at the above expression, if this quantity is equal to 0, dou alpha by dou q is equal to 0, then this terms vanishes. Then there is no Stokes line and anti-Stokes line. Thus, the molecular vibration will be Raman active only if it causes a change in a component of the polarizability. That is, if dou alpha divided by dou q not equal to 0, a molecule will be Raman active. And the change in polarizability means a change in the magnitude or the direction of the polarizability alpha. And we have mentioned that classical theory correctly describes the frequencies of Raman lines, but it fails to give the correct intensities. Now the quantum theory of Raman effect. We have mentioned that though the classical theory correctly describes the frequencies of Raman lines, it fails to give the correct intensities. In the quantum theory, we use the Planck's hypothesis, that is, a light is considered as a photon. Using quantum theory, quantum mechanical theory, it would be able to predict the intensities of Raman lines. Here, the photon can be imagined to undergo collision with the molecule. Let it be a photon with frequency nu. It is collided with molecule. A photon has some energy h nu, and if it is collided with the molecule elastically, the photon will be deflected unchanged. It is Rayleigh scattering. And however, there will be exchange of energy between the two if the collision is inelastic. The molecule can gain or lose some energy. It must be equal to the energy difference between any of two its allowed states. And the molecule gain, if the molecule gains energy, the scattered frequency will be nu 0 minus nu m, where nu m is the energy of nu m is the frequency corresponding for the molecule, or h nu m must be the energy corresponding for the molecule. Okay. And if the molecule lose energy, the scattered photon will have a frequency nu 0 plus nu m. Here, just look at here. If the photon h nu 0 is colliding with the molecule with with energy h nu m, if the molecule gains some energy, if it gains some energy from the photon, the energy of the photon will reduce. Okay. Here we take delta E as it is the energy change between these two. Here we take delta E divided by H is equal to nu E. Then if the molecule gains some energy, the photon loses some energy. It is corresponding for that quantity, delta E divided by H or nu m, corresponding for that quantity. And if the molecule loses some energy, then the energy is given to the photon, then the frequency of photon increases. So the first case, nu 0 minus nu m, it is corresponding for Stokes lines, and nu 0 plus nu m corresponding for anti-Stokes line. And since the former is accompanied by an increase in molecular energy, while the latter involves a decrease. The Stokes radiation is more intense than anti-Stokes lines. However, the intensity of the total radiation scattered at any incident frequency is extremely small, and very sensitive apparatus is used to study it. So I stop here. We will discuss the more topics on next session. Thank you.